What's going on, guys? See who made it out here today. Man, I didn't think I was going to make it. Crazy busy today. Rushed out here from Vista. In-laws came in and had to went out to dinner, and it was like taking forever. I'm like, man, I got to go. We made it. We're here. It's all good. How's everybody doing out there? Who we got here? Eric, what's going on, man? Good to see you. Saltwater Slayer, what's up? Salty, glad to have you in. Cal, what's going on, man? Leonard, the man. Let's see, anybody else? Anybody else is out there? Is your first time? Just give me a shout out or just say what's up. Everybody's welcome. Come joining Saltwater Slayer. Man, you've been slaying it out there. And everybody's been giving you a hard time, but now you're truly coming into your own as the Saltwater Slayer. Leonard, Chargers suck. Mark G, what's going on, man? Listening to the drive home. Hey, we'll take it. We'll take the drive home for sure. Yeah, glad everybody made it. How was your Thursday? We're almost there. We just got Friday, and then we got fishing weekend. Spotty Bowl this weekend. So that should be good. Your first time remark? I don't believe you. I've seen you in here before. Yeah. Yeah, so you guys all made it out to La Jolla. How was that? I saw the action going on in Fishy Hour. It looked pretty cool. Wish I could have made it. Like I said, my mom came down. That was cool too. So we got to see her. Took her out to Old Town. She never been out there, but yeah, those pictures look awesome. You guys were killing those. Looks like the bottom fish. Did you guys try any? Did you guys actually try to go for any yellowtail or anything like that, or did you guys just mostly stick to the bottom fish? Dave Rage, what's going on, man? Yeah, La Jolla was great. It looked great, dude. It looked like fun, like perfect conditions. I mean, that doesn't happen very often. I haven't been out there very much, just a couple times, 2 times, but every time I've gone, it's been fun. I like La Jolla a lot. It's a totally different world, it's totally different than the bays. Trying to find, there's the structure's different, everything, man. It's cool though. The boat trip. We'll get to that, Leonard. Yeah, that's what I was gonna talk about next. So I didn't go out to La Jolla, but I did go to the boat trip. Went out on the Grande. It was a full day. We were probably out there like 12 hours or something like that. We were fishing for tuna. So I didn't get any tuna. I skunked out. And it was funny because I was watching the Fishy Hour thing about when was the last time you skunked. And yeah, I went out there and skunked out on the tuna. There wasn't that many fish. It's like Scotty was saying, it was kind of slow. But the quality of the fish were absolutely massive. The ones that were caught were like 100 pounds. It was a 200 pounder was caught. I don't know if there was one little football fish, but most of the fish that were caught were like over 100 pounds, which was freaking crazy. So it was cool seeing those come over. Out of like 30 people, probably there was only 16 fish caught, but some of the guys there caught like multiple fish. So only realistically, probably like 12 people out of the 30 something caught fish. But it was cool. We grinded the whole time. We got out there. The biggest success looks like everybody was using I think the story was mostly jigs, knife jigs, and then the slow fall jigs. So if you guys go out there, I think they were killing them on the pink. Everything I think I saw that was caught was on the pink. And some of the some was on live bait, but it was deep fishing. So these tuna were probably, I think anywhere from like 250 to like 600 feet down. It was freaking crazy. So they would come up and the captain would just be like, oh, they're at the bottom. They'd come up, maybe they'd boil for a little bit when they were throwing the chum, and these things would go down and they would dive deep. So I've never done anything like that, throwing some of these slow pitch jigs like 300 to 600 feet. It's hard to judge, how deep you are. I have like this multicolored, was it braid? So I was kind of counting like the colors as they went down. It goes like blue, white. It's like the aqua camo. So I was trying to get a judge for it, but the boat was drifting too. So, you're trying to get a jig 500 feet down and the boat is drifting. It was definitely a challenge. But the jigs I was throwing were looking good. I mean, I was watching them go down. They were spinning. They were fluttering side to side. It was just luck of the draw. Nothing different than anything else was doing. But they were getting them on these. I think I got one here. We're just calling them the knife jig. This one seemed to be the most popular, which was these long jigs. This one's 180 ounce. I think the guys that did well were throwing a heavier jig. And like I said, the pink was the color too. But then I also saw a few cut on this, like this exact one. Probably this is like the flat fall, the Shimano. But this pink and blue seemed to do pretty well. Yeah, but I mean, these fish were massive. It was crazy. I mean, these guys were fighting these things. And I mean, you think 100-pound fish, 200-pound fish. The heaviest gear I had was, I think the heaviest gear really anybody had was a 65, which is okay. I had my Fathom 2 speed. I mean, I was ready to go. Definitely had the gear to get it, 65-pound. But some of these fights, I mean, they were going on. I saw the same dude go around the boat like 6 times, and he probably fought this thing for like an hour. It was freaking crazy, and he had to hand it off to one of his buddies. Yeah, Dave Rage, 250 to 300. I think that was the way to go. Heaviest I had was the 180, and I think the current was, because we were drifting so much, I don't think it was heavy enough to get down. I didn't think they were that deep, to be honest with you. What does Coach have to say? Off to make bait and chum. We'll leave you get on the show. Yeah, man. Definitely, Coach. Come back whenever you want. Dario, what's going on, man? Good to see you. Cal. Reverse dropper. That's what you were using out in La Jolla? Or that's what I should have used. Oh, fishing the Old Glory overnight. Dave, yeah. When are you doing that? Oh, tomorrow night. Dude, good luck. Dude, that's awesome. The overnight's the way to go. I think you see those overnight boats, they kill them. I mean, at least you get that time on the water because it takes so long to get out there. Like when you do the 1 days, we didn't go as far as I've gone before, but we went to the islands. But it takes a while. You look for the fish for, it's like a 3-hour boat ride or longer, and then it's like another hour looking for the fish. And they got them, but it was just, so we only had to go a few spots, which was good, but just was a tough bite. Very, very few hookups. The ones that were super cool though. Saltwater Slayer, need to try those jigs right now. I'm trying to save up for the Phoenix M1. Yeah, man, give them a shot. You're fishing from shore, but yeah, they still work, man. If you can get those over by a piling, you'll get bit for sure. Sound Fishing, what's going on, man? Shout out to Sound Fishing. He's always letting me know when he can't read stuff in my videos or catches the errors in the spelling, which I appreciate, dude. I mean, thank you so much for that. I like that constructive criticism. So anyways, back to the boat trip. I wanted to talk about something is that, so I didn't catch a fish, but I did in fact get a fish. So I got one of the fish. One of the deckhands was actually there, Ash. He was there on his day off, believe it or not. So we've been on this boat before, I think 3 or 4 times. And my wife, man, always hooks these guys up, for sure. Tyler was the deckhand. Ash, Tony was out there. The girl that's always working on the boats on the Grande. And Ash had caught 3 fish. He's one of the deckhands. I think, like I said, he was working the galley last time we were out there. And that dude slated. I think he caught 3 bluefin. So at the end of the day, the guy was going through, Tyler was one of the other deckhands, cool ass dude. And he sat down next to us and it was like, hey, you guys want to fish? And I'm like, well, I mean, nobody wants it. Like, yeah, we'll take a fish. He's like, yeah, we'll get you guys a fish. So we ended up getting a fish, about 100-pound bluefin. Dude, and this thing is awesome. We took it to the processor that night, the Monday night, had it done. I mean, we've got like the Toro, all the sushi cuts. I mean, I had a whole 72-ounce ice chest. Let me see if I can bring it up here for you guys. Trying to learn this new program here. Yeah, so these are these are some of the fish that were caught. I think this one right here was the one, or back here, I think it was the one we got. It was like 100 pounder. This was like the 200-pound fish that somebody caught, and this dude had caught 3 too. He just slated. I think he caught all 3. So we got a nice size fish, one of these fish, and then that's my reel. Dude, we got a whole look at. You got the Toro right here, which is kind of like that belly stuff. I mean, this is like high dollar. You're gonna pay $40 a pound for stuff like this over at the sushi place. Got all the sushi cuts. I mean, look at this, dude. That thing's like marbled like a freaking steak. So crazy. That's the belly meat of this thing. Like I said, it was 100-pounder. Totally awesome. So we did end up getting a fish, and so I didn't catch one. I mean, that's almost good enough. You know, that's you got to think like 100-pound fish, even at 20, that's $1,000 worth of meat, easy. I mean, even on the low end, $20. But you see the marbling on that thing. That is money. I mean, that's a lot of dollars per pound. So we probably got like 50 pounds of yield out of that. It's pretty awesome. So what I wanted to tell you guys was just treat, when you're out on these boats, like just the relationship and just respecting these guys and hooking them up with tips. I mean, it means a lot. It's a relationship thing. We go out usually on the same boats, like the Grande. I think we've been out like 4 times. We always go up to the one up in Davies Locker, the Freelance, and I know the deckhands up there too. Dude, they're just great guys. So just treat them right. When they want you to move, get out of the way, hook them up when they're tipping. These guys work their ass off, and they remember that stuff. And I was talking to Jessica, and she usually handles all the money like with them, and I know she takes care of these guys. And I've never tipped them or anything to get something out of it. Just being decent or building rapport. It's like, look, I know I'm going to be on this boat again, and it's nice seeing the familiar faces time and time again. And Tyler come down and hook me up with the fish like that. I mean, it was pretty cool. So he knows when we were coming on the boat. I said what's up, and just take care of these guys. I mean, because you never know when it's going to come back around and do a favor for you. Shout out to Ash again. I mean, dude slayed 3 fish and hooked us up. So just be cool to these guys. I know we go out to up in the boats in Orange County, man, and they treat Jessica, my wife, like she's royalty, dude. Like they're giving her the bait out of the little net thing, giving her the best one that's swimming lively. She gets a tangle. They're out there, making sure she's cut up clean. We chartered a boat from them too. So we took our whole company out there last year, and then we're doing one this year out of San Diego too. So it's do right by these guys, because you never know when they can help you out. Sometimes it's the little things. They can point you in the right direction, and the small little hookups that they do, they give you priority over stuff. Sometimes you need that gaff, and they remember when they treat you right. When you treated them right the last time, they remember you. They remember stuff like that. So it was cool to see, because I've never really expected anything out of it. Just trying to be decent and fair. I know they deal with a lot of guys that just bitchy and crabbing, and they probably just get hassled all the time. So that was cool. So shout out to the guys on the Grande for actually getting me a fish, even though I didn't catch one. It was pretty awesome. Yeah, Jessica. So I went out with my wife too. So man, she's a trooper. Jessica's out there. She sleeps in the bunks on the way out, and it was so funny because she was like so disappointed. She was so down on herself. It was like we're probably like 10 hours in, and she's just sitting at the table, and I'm like, what's going on? And she's just like, I'm so disappointed in myself, and I want to catch a fish so bad. And we were out there for my birthday. She's like, I really want you to catch a fish. I'm just like, look, and these charter boats, there's nothing you can do. The captain puts us in a spot where he thinks it is, and then there's 30 people dropping a line. It's like you're gonna get one or you're not gonna get one. When the fishing is slow, when it's a wide open bite, everybody's getting bit. But on these trips, it's tough. And she towards the end, she came around. She was enjoying it. She liked it. But I know it was just funny how hard she was taking it, dude. But she was grinding the entire time. She was throwing the slow pitch, sending this thing 500 feet down. She was cranking it up. I mean, her thumbs were getting torn up. I had some tape. She went down underneath the deck, grabbed some tape out of my backpack, taped up her fingers. She was back out on the deck. Every time that boat stopped, I mean, she's out there. She was just throwing the jig, throwing the jig, throwing the jig, switching to live bait, going for the, want me to rig up stuff on the weight. She was throwing the live bait down. I mean, it was crazy how competitive she was. And she wanted one so bad. So I was kind of sad she didn't get one, but we'll be out there again. We'll get a big fish. Yeah, but these things, it was pretty awesome. So if you guys are going out, I recommend bring something heavy. I think as it warms up, they're going to come up to the surface. The water's still pretty cold, so they're deep. The bluefin are out there, but freaking deep. I mean, I wish I had brought kind of like a Dave Rage was saying, probably a 250 to 300 gram. Like I said, the pink seemed to be getting bit. I don't know if that had anything to do with it, but just a tip if you guys want to go out. Eric, yeah, you get a day and a half on the Mustang. No idea what to expect. The day and a half's usually for the bigger game. You're not going to go fish a day and a half for rockfish. I mean, not that I've seen. Rockfish for boats are cool because you're usually going to catch fish, but day and a half's, yeah, those are money because normally you go out there and you just sleep. You sleep on the boat. You go find a bunk underneath. So bring a blanket, bring a pillow. I just use my backpack, but I would recommend like bringing a light blanket. But yeah, those day and a half because they go out there way deep. Usually go out to Mexico, and then that's where you get like I don't think the Dorado are out yet, but definitely the bluefin are probably what you're gonna go for. So it's fun. Bring heavy gear or just rent it from them. But bring a couple setups. I'd bring like if you have it, like a super heavy. I got a boat rod that is just like a broomstick with the Fathom 42 speed. Make sure you're heavy enough. I would do one with a 65 pound or 80, even if you've got it. And then maybe you can do a lighter setup with like some, I probably wouldn't go lighter than 50-pound braid. There's no need to. I mean, braid, throw it on. Your leaders, you can go thinner. I mean, we had straight up 60-pound fluorocarbon. It was crazy. That stuff was like a rope. So just make sure you've got all that stuff. But it'll be fun. Yeah, Dario's been on the Mustang. I haven't been on the Mustang. Pretty cool, though. Mark, nobody comes way offshore. Not even close. Oh, somebody asking about passports. Need to get up. Yeah, Mark G asking about the passport. Yeah, Dave Rage, you're right. I think don't quote me on this. I think if you're 12 miles off land, you don't need a passport. But yeah, if you're on the islands or near the inshore, then you do need a Mexican passport. They'll usually tell you. If the trip will usually say no passport on the thing, or you can call them and ask. I think they prefer the no passport trips because I'm sure they get more. It's just one less hassle, I would like to go to the islands though. I did specifically book one because it was for passport to the islands, and then they changed it and made it no passport. That was the trip where we got all those bonito. That was the grande too. I've been looking for those tuna. Fishing game has. Let's see what we got here. There you go, Salty. We'll put you to work. You can be a deckhand. Yeah, I'm excited. For those of you that don't know, Salty's talking about. Sorry, I'm slower on the chat. Jessica's not here right now, so I'm doing the one-man show. Trying to read the chat, which I'm always behind on. But yeah, I have a down payment on a boat. Say it's not going to be ready. And this was like early in the year. I was looking at it late last year. It's just like a 19-foot Arima Sea Chaser. It's made for deep sea fishing, which is pretty cool. I'm supposed to have it in October. The guy's like, yeah, it should be here in October. Hopefully it doesn't slip till December. Sucks. The couple things. I'm going to miss the whole summer fishing, which is, I think, okay because I don't know what the hell I'm doing on a boat, to be completely honest with you. So it'll be nice to go out in the winter and late summer. Or it's not even late summer, it's fall. Be out there in the winter and try it out, look like an ass. That way I won't miss all the good fish. Then hopefully by the time summer comes, I'll know kind of how everything works. I've talked to Dario. I want to take him out. He's captain boats. You guys know Dario, dude. That dude knows boats. So I wanted him to take me out a few times to kind of show me what's going on. I mean, I'm not afraid to admit it. I drove the boat. I test drove it, and then they're building me a new one. I'm still kind of foreign to it. I got my boater card. I've done the classes, but it's like anything. Once you get out there and do it, that's what I was telling Jessica too. I was like, yeah, but when we were able to, we'll come out here in the summer, and instead of 30 people, it'll just be me and you. I mean, or 4 people on this boat. It's like we'll hook up for sure. Then you're not fighting over 30. Once they've only got 1 or 2 lures down there, we're gonna get bit. So that's exciting, super exciting. I think finding the fish will be a totally different skill to learn, which I like. I mean, I'm like addicted to learning new things. You guys ever do that? Sometimes I do a fishing technique and I get really good at it, but then I get bored and I just switch to something else and just try some other random technique to see if I can catch fish on it. Maybe it's just me. You know what? It's like it almost gets too easy, like catching fish on one thing, and you're like, this is kind of lame. I don't want to do this anymore. I want to try something else. Let's see. 4 days on the Apollo, Tyler. Oh, Tyler, welcome, man. You're the rod maker, right? Man, I got to get you to make a rod for sure. I think that's you. You make the custom rods. 4 day savage. I mean, I'm hardcore, but dude, I don't know if I could do a 4 day. Salty can be the masturbator. Yeah, I think we'll have him chumming it up. He can bait all the hooks. Yeah, Dario, for sure. I think I do need help. I don't know, like, right, how to throttle it up. I mean, I know how to like drive it, but you know what I mean. It's all the little things. Throttle up here, know when it's planing, when you put the hydraulic trim tabs down or up. What am I looking for? Plus the fish too. Like I don't know how to find fish in the open. I do a little bit from La Jolla, but like what am I looking for out in 600 feet of water for bluefin? I don't know. I have no clue. I feel like I'm gonna have a lot of trips out there where I go out and catch absolutely nothing. I'll be your second on the new boat date. Yeah, man, I'm down. You guys want to come? Like I said, I can't guarantee we're gonna get fish. at least the first couple times. I'm confident I can figure it out. That's the exciting part. I mean, I can't wait till I get proficient at it and good at it. But I'm just prepared. I've mentally prepared. I'm not lying to myself thinking I'm just gonna go out there and slay it the first couple times I go out on the boat. Like I've got realistic expectations. I'm probably gonna suck. Maybe I'll throw out some mackerel so I don't skunk. Throw out the sabiki. That being said, about the skunk thing, I've never skunked to my kayak, and I've only been kayak fishing about a year. Actually, it'll be a year next month when I started fishing with you guys, and then with the MMFC. I've not skunked. Close. I've gotten a few one fish days, but I've not skunked yet. I'm sure it's gonna happen. It happens to everybody, but it's just a matter of time. When I used to short fish all the time, like skunking was like that's just part of the business, man. Short fishing is rough. That's even like the spots that produce all the time. Once you can't cover the ground, it makes it really hard. But that's what makes it fun. That's what I was telling Jessica too. It was like, if we were always out here killing it, it wouldn't be as good. It's the rough days make the good days good. So when you have those good days and the fish are blowing them up, and you just feel like you're the man and you're throwing them in and you're slaying them. That's what makes it awesome when you have the bad days, because you know how crappy it is when it's slow. And it was funny because there was another guy that caught 3 fish, and I actually saw him down there at the processor today. We were at the same time. I was like, "Oh, what's up, dude?" He's like, "Oh, how many did you catch?" And I was like, "I didn't catch any. Somebody give me a fish." But and I was talking to him, so what were you using? And he was saying that knife jig. I heard him talking to somebody on the boat too. But I was talking to this guy, and he was like, really cool dude, super fishy guy. But he was like, dude, I've gone out there and I've skunked so many times, just like we've all had talked about. He's like, I've gone on 15 trips where I've caught nothing. He's like, it was just my day. They were biting. I hooked up on 3 fish. And he was like, this isn't regular for me. I've never caught 3 giant bluefin like this. So, sometimes you see these guys and you think they've got it all figured out. But he was super cool. And he was telling me, man, he's like, I've taken 15 skunk trips before I got this 3 fish day. So it's sort of like gambling, you don't really know on these boats, because when you're on a kayak, there's a lot more skill on the boat. I mean, a lot more luck on the boats than a kayak. When you're kayaking, it's all skill because it's all on you, right? You have to find the spots. So you got to have all the knowledge. You got to find the spots. You got to rig up your stuff. You got to use the lures that you bring. Like it's 100% on you. And then the fish is you hope is going to bite, but it's still probably 80% skill, 20% luck. When you're on one of these cattle boats, you don't have the captain puts you like you're not doing anything to get on the fish. There's nothing you can do that's going to get you on the fish. The captain puts you on the fish. They give you the bait to use, and unless you're using the jigs, and then they send you down. So literally, he puts you on fish, and it's 30 or more other people sending you on a line at the same time, and it's just the luck of the draw. I mean, there is some skill. I mean, you got to know if it's falling right, and there's other feeling that you can get when you know you're getting bit. There's definitely some technique there for sure, but for the most part, so you guys go bad if you guys go out there on party boats, don't feel bad if you're, you don't get smashed on. So what I'm trying to say is, if you're on a kayak and you're not catching fish, you're a crappy fisherman. Just kidding. You'll find it. I remember at Saltwater Slayer skunked for a whole year, dude. I feel your pain, man. Because I live up here in Carlsbad or down, depending where you're watching this show, but fishing from the shore, the Carlsbad Lagoon, because they dredge that thing every couple years too, so the fish never get it. And they just dredged it this year. I went down there earlier, and they had dredged it a month before. There was nothing out there, so the fish don't have. They tear up all the eelgrass and even the valleys where they would lay and the shelves. They just rip it up every couple years. So, like, they dredge it, and then there's no fish. And then it takes like a year or two, then the fish start coming back and living there, and the fishing gets good, and then they dredge it again. So, yeah, I've had a lot of skunk days out in Carlsbad, the lagoons right here. Best one is a little further south that they don't dredge. That's the way to do it. But any of the lagoons they dredge, it's tough unless you know the cycle. But I know they just dredged this one, so it's probably going to be a crappy summer. Sound fishing 2 days in a row. Sound fishing, man. You got to use that flour, right? You said that guy in the sound fishing was saying somebody was using flour. I think Cal was saying making little bait balls out of some flour and cornmeal or something like that on the pier. So the pier up here in Oceanside on the harbor is actually closed down. They said it was in such disrepair. Not the main pier, but there's a fishing pier in the harbor. They build those ones for fishing. So it's closed indefinitely. I guess was in such bad shape. It was like they were like, no more. And I think it's going to cost so much to repair it. Man, hopefully it comes back, but we don't know. So or not a disclaimer. What is it? Caution, notification. I don't know what you call that, but if you're up here in Oceanside, yeah, that fishing pier in the harbor is shut down. So that kind of sucks. And I think that was just 2 days ago. They locked it down. Leonard, never been on a party boat. The party boats are cool. They're funner when if we all got a group party boat, it would be awesome. They're not that expensive. We could probably get a 30-person boat for $4,000 or something, which isn't a lot. That's like 100 something a person. It's even cheaper than if you just bought a spot on a boat. It all depends who's on there, because especially when you're fishing for the big fish. Dave Rage knows. It sounds like he goes out on the boats. You got to really know how to move and get over people and under people, especially when everybody's hooked up. Lines get crossed. And sometimes people don't really know what's going on, and you hook up and they just stand there like statues. They're standing there, and their line is literally 40 feet out one way, and you trying to go over them, and they're just standing there, and then they've tangled up everybody. So it's just have patience. The deckhands, dude, I don't know how these guys do it. I've seen them untangle lines that I'm just especially this last weekend when these 200-pound bluefin were twisting all these lines up, and they straight up had 5 lines in their hands tied around their shoulders, and they're undoing knots, undoing the spectra, 4 lines, undoing the lures while the fish is still on running. I'm just it's like witchcraft. They take the reel or the rod, and they spin it around the other one, and then it comes free, and I'm like, dude, how's that possible? I look at it and I'm like, there's no way. They're done. They're gonna cut off, and they always get it out. So I mean, that's what I'm saying, man. Take care of those deckhands, dude. It's freaking crazy how good they are. I watch them take out birds' nests from people. It's an art for sure. We got to get out there, Leonard. I mean, if you don't like people, maybe not. I mean, I'm not a huge like fan of people I don't really know, to be honest with you, but it's not that big of a deal. As long as you got like somebody to talk to that you know. I mean, I've gone out on boats by myself, to be honest with you, and it's fine. I know it's Salty was saying one time he wasn't about that life. Too many people. Yeah, two geeks. Two geeks, what's going on, man? Glad you could join us. Bring the flower. Let's do an MMFC trip. Cal, dude, I'm telling you, I'm all about it. Whenever you guys want to go, I mean, count me in. I'm down. Dave Raid, yeah, Carlsbad and Oceanside Harbor dredge this season. Yeah, I think they just finished Carlsbad, so good luck with that. Make the dough balls, then use the smelt for the Hallie and spotties. Yeah, Cal. So they're catching bait to make, or are they eating the smelt, or do they use the smelt for the halibut? Two geeks. We want to try Dana Point. The bite has been considered consistently hot. I fished Dana Point once. I went last year, or maybe it was the beginning of this year. Maybe it was this year. And it was a one fish day. That was the day I almost got. Man, Dana Point was rough. And it might be because I don't know much about Dana Point. But Dana Point, dude, I've never seen so many paddle boarders in my entire life. This wasn't even summer. And it's not a very big harbor, but it was complete insanity. And there was people fishing from the shore, and there was hundreds of paddle boarders just everywhere. I've never seen that. And I don't think it's big, so there's not a lot of place for them to go. It was hectic, man. It was hard to fish. But I think you can go out past the jetty, right? I think so. I don't know. I'm saying I think because from what I've seen like online and stuff other people have posted, I believe in Dana Point, you can go. So I did do this. I went out of the jetty, and then it's kind of like La Jolla, actually. You can get out in the open water, and I believe there's kelp beds if you keep going north. I know there's like a no fish zone over there, an MPA zone or and whatever it's called. But I think there's good sheepshead and stuff over there. I've seen people catch, but the harbor, man, that was rough. Just because it was so busy. I'd have to do it again. I'll do another Dana Point. But I went off Baby Beach. I don't know if that's where everybody launches. It's a pretty easy launch. Wasn't a big deal. I think after you get your boat, you're gonna love it. Knowing you're a fish guy, you'll figure it out quick. Thanks, Dario. Oh, I know I'll love it for sure. I'm not worried about that. I'm just preparing myself for the being crappy at it for a while. Even the kayak, when I first went out there, putting it in reverse, or I was bumping into stuff I didn't really know how it handled, but it doesn't take long. Yeah, you figure it out. Follow your lines, don't stand still. Wind in your face in the right place. Yeah, Dave Rage is right. So when they say so Leonard, or you guys that haven't been on the party boats, when they tell you to put the wind in your face, that's the side of the boat you want to be on. What that literally means is you want the wind hitting your face, especially if they're not anchored up, which they don't do when you get too far out looking for bluefin. The anchor just doesn't reach. So the wind hitting your face means the boat is drifting that same way. So when you've got a jig down, you want it to go away from the boat. So if the wind's hitting your face, it's hitting the same side of the boat. Your jig is going to carry away from the boat. If you go to the other side and you can't feel the wind, your jig is going to go underneath the boat. And that's the thing. A lot of rookie mistakes is you see that and they're looking down and the jig goes under the boat. Not only that, as the people are reeling up on the other side because it becomes more vertical, they've tangled up into everybody, or they're getting broken off, or they're just, once the jig's under the boat, it's not doing anything. It's hitting the hull. And so Dave knows. Yeah. And then follow your line. So if your line is going to the right, don't be afraid to, everybody's there. Everybody knows what's going on. Well, not everybody knows what's going on, but don't be afraid to let somebody know you're going over them. So if your line's going to the right and your line is over somebody else's, you just say over, over, over. You just lift your rod over and you just walk with it. If your line is under somebody else's, you just say under. Just go over them. The guy, he'll just lift his rod up. So don't be shy. It takes communication. And I think a lot of the shy people or the statue people, they don't really know how to move or what to move, and they just tangle everybody up. So Just be you can't over communicate on those boats. As long as everybody's communicating, it would be fine. So I think if we did an MMFC trip, dude, it'd be fire because everybody here knows everybody, but everybody here knows how to fish too. I mean, I bet we'd just be freaking slaying it left and right. Except for Eric, probably be pushing people out of the way, throwing them overboard. You do a lot of boat trips, Dave? It sounds like it for sure. Tyler, that's intense. What did he say? Help my buddy. Yeah. Oh, he'd land a 330-pound bluefin tuna. On a Stella setup. I don't know what a Stella setup is, but 1.5 of pain. Dude, but 330 pounds, yeah, that's savage. I mean, these 100-pounders were taking some of these guys 45 minutes or more to land. But if you got the right gear, you can horse it in like 15 minutes or so. It was funny because I had my slow pitch rod, and a lot of people had never seen him before. And there was like some old guy, and he was like, "No, you better hope you don't catch a fish on that thing," because you know, I was like super narrow. It looks like a freshwater rod, but I was getting some funny looks for sure. Tyler, the deckhand, though, he knew what was up. He came over. He's like, "Oh, you're slow pitch jigging?" He's like, "Yeah, I was just getting." He's like, "I'm getting into it." I'm like, "Yeah, me too." And he was super interested. I let him use it. He was checking it out, and he didn't question the rod. He was like, "You think we'll be able to catch a 100-pounder?" I was like, "I think so." But yeah, some of the other people, because you know they got those freaking rods that were just broomstick rods, and this thing, I was there. It looks like a freshwater rod, but it's designed to, you know, pitch 250-pound jigs. Big or small. Saltwater Slayer never knew Eric was that bad. He's pushing people. Dude, that's why he's the judge. He'll judge you one way or the other. If it's not in Spotty Bowl, it's overboard. Let's see what else we got here. So yeah, we got the knife. Yeah, the knife jigs, guys. Check those out. Did get the fish. What are you guys doing for? So we got the last leg of Spotty Bowl. Those of you that don't know what Spotty Bowl is, it's the five biggest fish, artificial baits only. Everybody fishes in a pool of 40 people, and then after a couple weeks, I think, what is it, 6 weeks, then the top 6 of each round, there's a first round and second round, get to do playoffs. So I think we're nearing, what do we got, 2 left. I'm not gonna be able to do the last Spotty Bowl. I'll be out in going to Vegas, then going to go see my dad at the river in Arizona. But I think it's okay because I'll use that as my mulligan day. So I just got to fish decent this week, and I think I can get in the playoffs, and then I'll have my mulligan one on the last week, which is crazy too because I had this scheduled already, and then I chartered a boat for my company on August 28th, which is actually the final for Spotty Bowl. So hopefully I get eliminated before then because I don't know what I'm going to do. If I made it all the way through, I don't know if I'd have to like change the trip, or it's a huge conflict of times, but we'll worry about that when the time comes. I might go out in the first round, then I don't got nothing to worry about. But if I go deep in the playoffs, I want to be sweating it for sure. I already dropped like a couple G's renting this whole boat out. I probably reschedule, but then everybody else that's on it is going to have to reschedule. So I won't get too far ahead of myself. I don't think I'll make it that far, to be honest with you. Hopefully I'll just get lined up with Brian and he'll put me out of my misery quickly. You did a 7 last year, day overnight. I did one. You did 7 overnights, or you did a 7-day overnight trip? Yeah, yellowfin, Dorado, and I did that last year, Dave. That dude, Dorado are so much fun. When you see them like swarming under the boat and then they jump out of the water like little marlins, it's pretty cool. But yeah, Spotty Bowl. So we got not the last one for me before playoffs because I'm not gonna be able to fish the next one. So that'll be cool. Are you guys all gonna do it? Or are you taking taking time off. I know I don't think Roman's doing it anymore. Be fun. I gotta do a decent showing. Maybe I'll throw something else besides those little slow pitch jigs. Probably not. Let's be honest. Yeah, salty throw it. What am I gonna do? What if? What if I made it that far? Do I cancel, like, reschedule an entire boat trip to do the final? I probably would. Or I just say, screw it. I got all these people waiting to go on this boat that I've chartered. It's too far in the future. 7 trips total. That's a lot of trips. I think that's how many I've never actually done an overnight trip, Dave. But I think I went on like probably 7 deep sea trips last year. I like going out to Coronado. I mean, not Coronado, Catalina actually a lot. It's only a 3-hour ride. And in the summer, the yellowtail are popping off. Every time I do like the full days, it's just, you got to be ready for it because it's a long trip. Especially you go down to, last year, went down to like, or was it down, like way down, like Ensenada? It was like a 6-hour ride. I think that is the way to go because you can sleep there, right? Because you get on the boat at like 9. That's like my bedtime, anyways. You get on the boat, sleep, wake up, you're on the fishing grounds, then you fish, and then when it heads back, you sleep on the way in. I think that's probably way better than the one day, because the one day you're up and you're usually awake the whole time. You sleep a little bit, but it's like you're just awake the whole time for the boat ride, and it's like you're like a little kid. You're like, are we there yet? Are we there yet? It's pretty rough. So I think those overnights and the day and a half is the way to do it for sure. How will you just sleep through all the driving? Yeah, if I don't catch any fish this weekend, I don't make the playoffs. Eric's right. I have 2 mulligans. I don't know, man. Last time at Mission Bay, I was sweating it. Even though I did okay, I got 3rd place, but I was like, that's my newest video coming out where I switched to that little ultralight. But I caught 1 fish. It was 3 hours before I caught my 2nd fish, and I was like, this is not good. Then it blew up a little bit. You know, Brian if you guys haven't seen Fishy Hour, go check that out. They're another show that, just like this one, this is where kind of the genesis of this one came through, is the lack of the Fishy Hour. But Brian was talking about the patterns, and I'll show you guys some insider tips here on the patterns. In Mission Bay, when I was at the docks, one thing I noticed is the tide, when the tide was incoming, I was catching all my fish on the southern side of the docks, only on one side of the docks, the southern ends, nothing on the northern ends. Every single fish I started catching was on the southern ends. And then that died. And then once the tide changed to an outgoing tide, all the fish I caught were on the north end of the dock, and I didn't catch anything on the south end. So as the water was coming in, it's telling me the fish are on the south end, or they're facing that way. So it's hard in that, the way the docks are facing, with the incoming tide, it's hard to fish the northern end and get behind the south, if that makes sense. So fish almost like the wind in your face. It's the same thing. When the tide is coming at you, especially there at those Mission Bay docks, was that Quivira Basin. I think it's different in some of the ones in San Diego because they face differently. When the dock slots are facing the way the tide comes in, it doesn't matter because the direction is kind of the same, whether they're on the north or the south. In that case, it'd probably be the east and the west. But when they're facing, what is that, across or perpendicular to the tide, that's where I was having all the luck, was only on the one side, and then it switched to the other side. So just something to think about. And I kind of figured that out partway through. I caught one, and then I was like, oh, interesting. And then I realized what the tide was doing, so I just fished one side of the docks. And that's where I started crushing them. And then once the tide changed, I started hitting them all on the other side. I mean, not too much. I think I only got 10 fish, but 2 15s, a 16, some monsters. And that's that pattern he was talking about. Sometimes you got to find that pattern, and then once you see it, that's what he's talking about. You stick with it, and then be able to change it once it changes. If you catch one in one side, stick to it and keep trying that side because there might be something to the tide or the way that the water's moving underneath, which is causing you to catch fish in a certain only on like a certain side. Um, this happens too if it's like super sunny and hot. A lot of times they'll be on the shady side. So if you're seeing dock pilings or like a bridge, go to the shaded side on a really hot day. Sometimes I think when it's overcast, it doesn't matter as much. They seem to be open, but when it's like the sun's blaring and it's hot, check the shaded areas because they'll be under there trying to get out of the heat and everything too, and they just kind of they sit there and swim in the shade. So look for those little things. The side the tide is coming from. So if the yeah, basically, let me see. Maybe I can pull it up here. It's like the bear with me here. Still learning this new system. Let's see. Yeah, I don't think there's. I'm trying to bring up Google Maps and see the. Doesn't really have any of the piers though. Yeah, so basically you can see the as the tide comes in, it's coming in this way, right? So say the docks are facing like this. All the docks facing this side were where I was getting hit. And then as the tide goes out, I want all the ones all the docks facing north. So they're the same docks, but I was either facing the south side of them when the in tide was incoming and then the north side when the tide was outgoing. I don't know if that kind of makes sense. I probably need to draw it. I know the mouse moving around isn't really doing any justice, but if you guys have any more questions, I mean, I can draw something up for you, but that was definitely something I noticed was going down. Yeah, saltwater slater. Here we go with the patterns, dude. It's true. I mean, don't sleep on that. There's definitely something to it because when the bite, sometimes you'll think, oh, the bite picks up, but a lot of times it's just you've kind of noticed the fish act in a certain way in certain days. Um, Sometimes they're biting different colors or they're biting different lures. That can be the pattern too. Is just hey, they're not biting metal jigs, they're biting plastics or they're biting finesse stuff on drop shots. That can be a pattern, so you stick with that. Maybe they're on one side, maybe they're in the shade. It's very important to figure out because once you can figure it out, you can start catching the fish like crazy. Otherwise, you look, and you don't ever really come across them. So don't sleep on the patterns, guys. Good stuff. Different day to fish the finals. Yeah, I'm not worried about the finals, man. That's looking way far ahead. Honestly, I don't know if I'll get that far. I think who's gonna win? I think somebody's gonna win that hasn't won any of the tournaments. You guys know how that works, like in the playoffs in football. Is anything can happen once you hit the playoffs? It doesn't matter who's the first seed, who's whatever. How many times you see a wild card team win? It happens a lot more recently, so I wouldn't be surprised. Somebody just makes a good run. You know that didn't take a first place at all. That just goes out there and starts smashing. Would not be surprised. Yeah, Dave, that's awesome. Did the Old Glory last year, 9 p.m. Still driving south, 6 a.m. Stopped at 6:30. Boat limited on Yellowfin and Dorado by 9 a.m. One more stop at 10:30 on a patty for a bunch of yellowtail. Yeah, dude, that's a dream trip. That's freaking awesome. Salty, yeah, it's typical for most bites in a time frame to come off a certain, yeah, the side of the shade line. Yeah, sometimes the bite, you just, that's one of the things about just being consistent and keep throwing it in and looking for them, because when the bite goes, it goes. You have these times where it's slow. You guys know where a lot of times you fish in the morning and you'll get like 5 fish and then it just dies. You'll go an hour, a couple hours without catching fish, and then it picks up again. Sometimes it only picks up for 30 minutes. Sometimes it goes for 2 hours, but you want to make sure you're there when that bite picks up, because that's when you're going to catch all your fish. Most of my fish are caught like in these spurts where I'll start yanking them in like crazy, and then it kind of dies. So just stick with it, man. Keep throwing it, keep sending it out there. You don't know when it's going to blow up, and when it does, you want to be ready. Definitely. It's funny how many times Brian sent patterns. Yeah, dude, that was a lot. What is Dario doing? Eric. Yeah, we got Spotty Bowl, the playoffs. Anything else? Yeah, little tip I used. Somebody was asking for my things for cleaning reels, and basically somebody messaged me privately on Discord, and I just use vinegar. So one of the problems was this weekend, or not this weekend, last time we did Spotty Bowl, my reel just was not working, and I was using my little reel here, and it was just not spinning. And you can see how bad this thing was. I mean, look at that. Look at the rust and the junk in there. And it didn't feel right. So none of my 20 grams, nothing was working. And you can see it was in pretty bad shape. Crap everywhere. So what I did is just the vinegar bath. So this thing's got all stainless steel parts. And don't sleep on the vinegar, guys. This stuff's awesome. Look at this thing. Just soaked it in vinegar, and then I basically just rubbed it down with like a paper towel and some Q-tips. And it was like a brand new rod. This is the after pictures. So just vinegar. Vinegar's not harsh. It's not going to ruin anything. It's edible. So if you get it on your hands, I mean, it smells like crap, but I mean, that's my advice. Just dunk your rods in vinegar, add a little grease. I got some grease here on the things. And what I like to do is take pictures. Take pictures of the parts when you're taking them apart. That way, if you're getting, everybody kind of worries about getting the parts lost or something like that. Just take pictures as you go. That's actually why I have these pictures. It's because I was taking this thing apart, and then you forget either, these springs fall out, or you don't know which way this plastic piece goes. Pictures, pictures, pictures. And then, yeah, you really don't have any problems putting it back together. But the vinegar for sure. It's freaking awesome. Yeah, I think that's all I got for today, guys. Old toothbrush scrub. Yeah, that works for two. Also, I don't see Adobo in here, but I wanted to give a shout out to Adobo. The dude actually sent me a birthday present. Super awesome. It was like this little hook thing. I don't have it with me because it's already in my tackle bag. I think I won a prize, and he sent me something, so he already had my address. And dude, that was really cool. So I wasn't expecting anything from anyone, and I got a little present from him. So, dude, super cool. You guys are awesome. Everybody's here is awesome. If you have any questions, you can always leave it in the comment section. If you're watching the stream later, I know not everybody watches this thing live, so I get a lot of views after the fact. Ask questions in the comment section. I'd be happy to answer them. If I know the answer, I may not, but I'll find the answer. I'll find somebody that does know the answer for sure. And yeah, if there's anything else, if you guys have any other questions, let me know. If not, we'll wrap it up. Super excited for this weekend. It should be good conditions, so I'm hoping it all works out. Hopefully see you guys out there. Um, I know I'll definitely see probably Leonard and Salty for sure. Eric, I know you'll be out there. Dario, probably not. You're gonna be on baby duty. Cal, I know who was it? Matty Two Hooks wanted to go out there too. So yeah, dude, if you want to go out there, we'll be there fishing for Spotty Bowl. So next show, bring out my big boy rods and go over them. Yeah, I mean, I could show you what I use for the big bonito yellowtail tuna for sure. I'll do that. Show you exactly what I'm using for those. Um, you're definitely gonna need those on the big trips because you can rent their stuff, but you know the rental gear it's kind of janky sometimes. Plus, they load it up with all mono, so you don't get any braid or anything. And if you've got a lot of line out, it's really hard with so much spring when you're going too much mono and the whole thing is spooled with mono. You know, if you go to reel it in or set a hook or something, it's got so much stretch. It's really hard to set hooks. So I'll definitely show you what I've got going on, at least for what I use. Like I said, everybody does everything different, but I'll do what I can. Yeah, guys, thanks for joining me. Awesome having you guys here. I didn't think I was going to make it, but I'm glad I did. Hopefully you guys learned something. Like I said, have any questions, comments, or anything I can change, just put it in the chat. And thanks for joining. Hope you guys enjoyed it and had a relaxing time. And we'll see you guys out on the water this Saturday. Spotty Bowl. What is it? Season 5. Session 5, I think. We'll get it, guys. I'll see you out there, and hopefully we'll get a boat trip together and let's do some fishing. See ya.